So picture this. A hard drive crash wipes out a chunk of my old music video collection. Annoying, but whatever. I'll just go grab everything again. Except there was this one Kylie Minogue remix video I really loved, and suddenly, the internet had basically erased it. No YouTube, no Reddit help, nothing. And when I did track it down, buried on a sketchy Russian site and an equally questionable Asian one, the copies were so rough and low quality they were basically unusable. So I did the only thing left. I rebuilt the entire remix video myself, frame by frame. But the story behind why this video vanished, where it actually came from, and the weird little industry pipeline it passed through, that turned into one hell of a ride. Stick around.
Let's go into the MonroeWorld.
Hi everyone, Shane R. Monroe here, and today I am taking you with me on a journey that started with a hard drive dying but ended up with me recreating a lost Kylie Minogue remix video from scratch. And I don't mean tweaking something or cleaning up audio, I mean literally rebuilding an entire music video like it was some sort of lost media archaeologist. And as ridiculous as that sounds, the rabbit hole I fell into while chasing this thing was even crazier. Let's go back to the beginning. Years ago, I had this beautifully curated library of music videos. You know the type, organized folders, backup drives, maybe a few questionable encodes from the early 2000s, but overall a nice little collection. In that library was a remix version of Kylie Minogue's All the Lovers. Not the standard music video, I'm talking about a special edit, synced to the Wah Wah and MMB radio edit. It was tight, it was clean, it had that club energy, and I watched it a lot. Then disaster. A hard drive crash takes out a big portion of the collection. Most of it annoying but replaceable, but the one remix video, gone. Figured no big deal, the internet has everything. Except apparently it didn't have this. I searched everywhere. Google, Brave, YouTube, nothing. I even asked Reddit and got scolded like I was trying to pirate the entire Kylie Minogue discography. Nobody recognized the remix, nobody had a copy, nobody could even point me to some crusty old fan site or FTP server from the 1990s. The internet basically shrugged. Months later, in a moment of desperation, I tried Bing. Yes, Bing. And somehow it actually coughed up not one, but two versions. One on a Russian tube site and one on an Asian tube site. The Russian one was low resolution, but fairly clean. The Asian one was a little sharper, but covered in watermarks. Both had audio that sounded like it had been recorded through a sock. But buried under all that garbage was the remix that I remembered. That should have been the end of it, right? Download, enjoy, move on with my life. But the quality was so bad, so mangled, so far from what it used to be that I couldn't live with it. So I decided to do something incredibly stupid. I decided to rebuild the entire music video myself. The first step was to get a perfect audio source. That meant grabbing a FLAC of the Wah Wah and MMB radio edit. That already was light years ahead of the rips that I had found. Then came the video reconstruction. I loaded both of my sketchy rips into my timeline and used them like forensic evidence. These things were basically the Zapruder film of Kylie Minogue remixes. I pulled in the official HD music video from YouTube because visually the remix version mirrors most of the shots, just arranged differently and maybe repaced for the remix. This is where the real work started. I lined up the remix audio and then compared the timing of every cut, every flash, every movement between the official video and the crappy rip. Sometimes I had to sync by waveform, sometimes by looking at backgrounds and motion, sometimes by comparing fractional frames to figure out exactly where a cut happened. There were moments where the remix had cuts that didn't exist in the official version, so I had to make them from scratch. Duplicating transitions, matching motion, blending shots. I combed through the ripped versions frame by frame, using them like a map to rebuild the original edit as accurately as possible, but with clean HD source material. It was a weird mix of digital archaeology and editing therapy. Hours later, I had a fully reconstructed version with pristine audio. The only thing missing was the title card at the beginning, the one I vaguely remembered from the original. So I recreated that too, matching the font and the layout and everything, giving myself a little credit at the bottom. But when I was done, a new question hit me. What was this video? Why was it so rare? Why were the only existing copies buried on foreign tube sites with watermarks from 3 different eras of the internet? It looked official, it felt official, so why was it treated like some underground bootleg? That question, that's what really opened the rabbit hole. And this is where things got interesting, because the answer wasn't piracy. This time. It wasn't fan edits. This time. It wasn't some weird one-off export mistake. It was something called promo only. Promo only was and still is a legit licensed trade-only music service for DJs, VJs, radio stations, clubs, bars, cruise ships. They got early access to singles, alternative mixes, and even pre-release video footage so they could push new music in clubs before the general public ever saw it. And this Kylie remix video, it came directly from one of those promo-only DVDs. Record labels would commission multiple remixes of a track, far more than they would ever commercially release. Some were for iTunes, some were for Beatport, but others were promotional use only. The Wah Wah and MMB radio edit was one of those. Officially commissioned, fully approved, but never intended for the general public. Just DJs. Promo only would take those remixes, then sync them to music videos. And who did that editing? Freelancers, small video houses. One of them called themselves Definitive Point. They weren't a band or a DJ. They were a behind-the-scenes editor used by Promo Only around 2010, 2011 to cut custom remix videos together. So this remix video was actually official. It just wasn't public. It lived exclusively on a trade disc released to clubs in August 2010. No YouTube upload, no Vivo release, no commercial distribution, just a DVD sent to DJs, ripped by a few, forgotten by most, and eventually leaked onto random sites halfway around the world. In other words, this video didn't vanish. It was never meant to be found to begin with. That explains why it was missing from everywhere. Why the only copies were terrible. Why this whole thing felt like I was hunting a ghost. It was a legitimate product of a very weird moment in music distribution, the final years before YouTube took over and DJ promo discs faded out. So that's the story. A lost Kylie Minogue remix video, wiped out by a hard drive crash, rediscovered in the sketchy underbelly of the internet, painstakingly reconstructed from 2 broken rips, and traced back to a forgotten era of promotional use only music distribution that most people never even knew existed. And yes, the reconstructed version lives on now, cleaner and better than ever. I'm Shane Monroe. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what we're doing here, please like, subscribe, hit the bell. You guys know what to do. Take good care, and we'll see you all next time.